All right, we're getting really close to having our factory completely set up. The next thing I'm going to do is actually create the factory. So a recap right now, I have a sandbox, I have Daytona, I have a model, I have Fireworks with Kimmy26, I have a GitHub app, which will allow me access to the source code. I have an issue tracker with Linear, and I have a template called MACRM Dev, which allows me, has like my agents and my tools and everything like this. So the last thing I need to do is create a factory, and then I'll be able to test the whole thing out. So a factory is basically like a pipeline. Think of it similar to a GitHub workflow, a pipeline that has events and triggers that tell it when to do stuff and what to inject into the message. And we'll go through that all. And so to start with, I'm going to just say ElasticClaw factory ls, and you can see I don't have any. Sorry, it's not ls, it's list. I don't have any factories. So I'm going to say factory create, and I can create a factory. I'm just going to go really, really simple and give it a name. I'm going to say Amaze CRM Dev Linear. I'm going to say Amaze CRM Linear. And the goal of this factory is going to be that when a linear story moves into to-do, the factory picks it up and does the work. We're going to say integration linear, and workspace is Amaze CRM. If you remember, that's what we set up in our factory as the name. We can set the rest up through the UI. So we're going to go ahead and go create that. And if I hop over here to cursor, you can actually see that it created a factories directory now in the current directory that I'm in. I'm going to close the templates that we actually have. And in the factory, I have two files, a factory.yaml, which just defines the factory itself, and then the pipeline, which is the work that and how it's going to work. Now, we're going to take a minute or two and walk through each of these. So for the factory, the name, the integration, the workspace all make sense. Those are flags that I passed in. Trigger status is what status is going to be the initial entry trigger for Linear. So if we look here and I grab an issue, and I'm going to have to do be the trigger. So when I drag a story over here to do, I want it to work. So we'll hop over here and we'll just set the trigger status to do. Webhook secret ref. It wants me to create this to validate the webhooks that it receives. And then I need to pass a template. So the template is going to be the name of our template, which is Amaze CRM Dev. And then I'm also going to pass secret refs, which are key mappings that I actually want as secrets to the story. So I want linear API key. We're gonna finish setting these up. So right now I have to set up this webhook secret ref and the linear API key. So if I come back over here to ElasticClaw and I look at secrets, I don't really have any. So I'm going to say linear webhook, and I have that linear webhook here. That's the signing secret from linear. Paste that in. We'll save it, and we'll say linear API key. And we're going to take that value. We're going to paste it in. So I call them linear webhook, linear API key. And I can actually map this to linear API key. And this one will map to linear webhook secret. Is that the right names? Linear webhook. Okay. So that basically maps these over, and then that works. For the pipeline, if we look, the stages is working, and it's going to. This is what it's going to inject in. The PR opened. So this is not a very well fleshed out. You'll see. We'll go through this, but what happens. The idea is you put in the initial message that you want to prompt the agent when the story moves over, and then at different events. You can actually have a few different things in here, such as this is like when the PRs merge. This is a terminal status, which means ElasticClaw will delete the sandbox and everything. So we're going to go ahead now and say ElasticClaw factory list, and it's there. Factory push, and we called this factory Amaze CRM Linear. So when we push that, and then we come over here and we look at the factories, you can see that we have a factory. We're not going to go through this a lot right now, but there's concurrency groups, and it's at the global, so this can control how many active factories can be running at a time, because I might want quota or resource limits on them. I'm going to head over here. Let's look at the doctor page really quick. Factory Amaze CRM Linear is missing a secret. So if I look here, linear web book. I actually spelled it wrong. I missed the H. Thanks to the doctor for picking that up. I'm just going to go ahead and use the misspelling in order to use this. We'll just push it one more time. So now my factory has been updated with that misspelled secret name, and we will refresh this, and everything's good now. So now I have the factory set up, and it should be working. So I'm going to head back over here. And so I have no active claws running, no factories running. And I'm going to just test this out. Let's go ahead and create a new issue. Test issue. Do nothing. Do not create a PR. So when I drag this issue over here to do, it should fire off. And you can see AMA 25 was automatically created to match this issue. So this is now going to go ahead and create that Daytona sandbox. Let's head over and take a look. And so it should be spinning up a Daytona sandbox right now, just now, with the instance size, and it's going to put that template on it. So it's going to have the agents, the tools, and everything like this. It takes about 3 minutes or so because we're doing things like installing Nix and Docker and updating the newest version of ElasticClaw and putting our own bridge connector on it so that we can communicate back and forth. But this is the factory. I'm going to go ahead and just pause it for a minute so we don't have to sit here. We'll let the factory finish booting up, and then we'll unpause it and kind of go through where it left off. All right, so this factory, you can see it's finishing spinning up. You can see here, it actually injected a really small message, read your Bootstrap MD. And if we head back over here to our pipeline, it's this message. So most factories are going to have a much longer initial message, and it supports things like template variables. So you can actually say, read your Bootstrap MD, and look at issue title, and like that's all context. It's all in the docs as to what we actually cover there. And so this received it, no PRs. It says I'll monitor the PR. It knows that it's not supposed to do anything because that's literally what our issue said to do. And if we head back over here to linear, it has nothing. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to kill this so that we can kill that claw. When we kill that claw, this Daytona machine sandbox will drop, and the linear issue gets agent stopped, killed manually via the dashboard. So that's how we create a factory.